Let's dive into the full and narrated chapter of One Piece means Think Water. Ready? Then let's go, right after the intro. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel, and yep, we've got the complete and narrated chapter right here. But first, it would be awesome if you left a like, subscribed, and turned on the bell so you don't miss anything. Now, without further ado, let's jump into the chapter. A quick note, this is an early fan translation. We strongly recommend reading the official chapter this coming Sunday to get the most accurate version and the best possible immersion. That said, let's begin. Chapter title, I Can't Die! Ogre Child Yamato's Golden Harvest Surrogate Pilgrimage, Volume 38. Message, please go visit the grave of the hero born in West Blue and raised in Ringo. Ocho and Kikunojo take Yamato, Ulti, and Page 1 to a ruined grave we hadn't seen before. Page 1. The chapter begins in a village in Elbaf. 63 years ago, Jorul fell. He was a companion of the current oldest elder, Jarul. The furious Jorul was killed by a little girl. Even though she was human, she destroyed half of the giant village. Her name was Charlotte Linlin. She would later become the infamous pirate, the Yonko known as Big Mom. That same year, Elbaf was struck by rare disasters, bad weather, violent storms, and extreme cold that wiped out the abundant harvests. We see Queen Estrid, sick in her room, eyes filled with rage. Estrid says, "It's all that boy's fault." A soldier replies, "That can't be, this must be a coincidence." Estrid says, "He's looking at us. Get that monster away from me. Destroy his eyes." As she speaks, we see Loki trying to hug her, but when she pushes him away, tears run down his cheeks. Still in the middle of Elbaf's suffering, we see a crying child say, "Mom, I'm so hungry." The mother hugs her and says, "I'm sorry, my child. That was the last piece of bread. I'm sorry." In the next panel, two giants are arguing. Giant 1 says, "We should go out and raid." Then other giants shout, "Those bastards from Hunter Village are invading. Those cursed fools. Looks like they've already destroyed other villages too. Grab your weapons. Don't let them take anything." Although the land was called Elbaf, back then the kingdom was divided and had no strong leadership. Don't be fooled by the name Elbaf. The nation was weak and disorganized. Another giant says, "I heard a prince was born in the castle." The giant continues, "They say the prince is cursed." We then see a giant approaching Hajrudin and his mother, Ida, aggressively. The giant shouts, "Your damn brother, he's trying to destroy this country with his curse. So do the right thing as the older brother and offer yourself up as a sacrifice." Ida shouts back angrily, "What do you mean by that? My baby is the sweetest in the whole world. He'll outlive everyone here." The giant grabs her by the neck. The giant says, "Shut your mouth, Ida. You're an outsider, and yet you dared to enchant King Harold." Ida yells, "Shut up! Love has no borders." Hajrudin cries out, "You bastard, don't touch my mom." Page 5. Just before the giant could strike Ada, Harold appears and punches the giant in the head. Harold shouts, "I'll smash your face in, bastard!" Hajrudin and Ida both cry out in relief. "Father! Harold!" Page 6. We see Harold returning with supplies for the nation. Harold says, "My brothers, please don't harm each other. I reached out to the nations we have relations with. They loaded ships with massive supplies of food. Several countries united and brought enough to feed all the giants." We then see ships arriving, loaded with food. Harold says, "We'll accept this help with gratitude, and someday when they need us, we will help them too." We've been living in a world far too small. Queen Estrid died the day before Harold returned. Before her death, she spread the story of the cursed prince throughout the kingdom. She died in hatred, even of her own son. The people, of course, believed her death was caused by the curse. We see King Harold weeping beside his wife's body. Then he lifts Loki in his arms. Harold says, "Loki, my dear son." We now see Loki with his eyes covered and no smile on his face. A guard says, "Since birth, no, even before, he's had a condition with his eyes. He can see, but it's difficult." Harold replies with sorrow, "I see, poor little one. What a shame," Harold adds. He doesn't smile at anyone, and who could blame him? He lost his mother. Even though he was just a few years old, he could still see, but Loki had already lost hope in love. Harald endured the winter and triumphed. Diplomatic ties finally began to flourish, and Elbaf, we see Harold speaking to other giants. Harold says, "Tree root. Line 1. That's right. It'll promote trade and connection between villages." But with the country near collapse, Harald dedicated himself to rebuilding the nation and launching foreign expeditions. Swallowed by endless duties, Harald, meanwhile, in the shadows, the man who cared for Loki acted as regent. And he was Estrid's brother. We see Loki with visible wounds. He had been mistreated by this man. Then we see Ida, who opened a bar. Hyrden says, "Mom, this place is kind of dangerous, you know?" Ida replies, "Sea monsters rarely come this close to shore. You're so cute for worrying about me. Oh, heading to West Village? Training with the warriors again? Come visit me on your way back, okay? Fishermen, survivors, pirates? Everyone's welcome. This is Ida's tavern, my love. If I can be useful to Harald, that's all I need." 56 years ago in Elbaf, inside Jarul's home, Jarul says, "Harald, were you present during the Reveri incident?" Harald says, "Yes, I was there. I asked a king friend of mine to help me sneak in disguised as a soldier, but in the end, my requests reached the wrong ears. If that assassination hadn't happened, I might have been imprisoned by now." Jarul says, "Well, getting arrested would be the least of your problems. Have you ever heard the story of the Galera? The kanji here mean great warriors." Harald says, "I think they were some group of tough giant shipbuilders, right? Some kind of hammer-wielding warriors? That was just a myth, right?" Jarul says, "Not a myth at all. They were real. They sailed far beyond Elbaf and sent a letter back home from wherever they ended up. And the content of that letter said everyone was captured. Can you believe that? More than 100 warriors, including ancient giants, all captured by someone." Page 10. "You're telling me it was the world government that did this? There's no doubt we've faced formidable enemies in the past, but that part of history sunk deep on a certain day." As he speaks, we see the faces of 2 frozen giants, the same ones from Punk Hazard. "Maybe it's not your fault that your sincerity goes unrecognized. So this is about past grudges, is that it? I heard rumors that the giant army was frozen in Totoland, but some say it was all a setup. If it's true, it involves an entire clan. We must tread carefully." Page 11. We see young Loki being raised by Estrid's brother. Ezra says, "How about we feed you garbage today, huh?" Later, a little older, someone Luck is dead. Luck is dead." Even older. Another voice says, "The chosen one went to hell. We're all gonna end up the same. We're all gonna die." We are now 48 years in the past. We see King Harold giving a speech to Elbaf. Harold says, "The villages have started to communicate, and the nation is uniting, little by little. My dream is to form bonds with all the nations of the world." Someone says, "Damn it, we're in trouble. King Harold left on another expedition. They're coming. Close the gates. Get the kids inside." We then see they're talking about Loki and his gang of beasts. Loki shouts, "Smash everything, you filthy lot. This is Elbaf, the kingdom of the strong. The weak, they have no place here. They can die." Loki kept destroying and hurting everything around him, laughing at the weak as they fled. A voice shouts, "Hey, Loki. What the hell are you doing?" We see Hadrudin confronting him. Hadrudin says, "Don't you dare destroy the village our father fought so hard to rebuild." Loki, "Huh. Don't you dare call that man my father." Hadrudin says, "Maybe he did abandon me once, maybe he did leave me behind, but he tried to protect the ones who mattered. Don't act high and mighty just because you're big. I see everyone as equals." Loki smashes Hadrudin to the ground and says, "Don't compare me to others, you weakling." We then see Gerd as a child. Hadrudin. Young Goldberg says, "Gerd, don't go near him. They'll think you're with him. Loki'll get mad at you." Gerd bonks Goldberg on the head and says, "You've got everything wrong, idiot." Hadrudin, Are you okay, Loki? Ha ha ha. Disgusting. Pathetic. Hajrudin, a bunch of weaklings hugging and crying. How pitiful. Son of that filthy-blooded woman. Someone's, hey kid, he's the king's son. He's a prince, you know? Loki shouts, don't you dare call that worm a prince. Even as he hurt everyone, even as he destroyed everything, the hole in Loki's heart never filled. We then see Loki running away, throwing himself from the kingdom of the sun into the underworld below. A close-up reveals him fallen, his blindfolds off, crying heavily. Loki sobs, I can't even die. I can't even die properly. We see Loki still lying on the ground crying. In the background, a mountain has been cut clean through. Mystery Man says, what the hell is going on with this island? Where's the entrance? A group approaches Loki. Shiki, Edward Newgate, Buckingham Stussy, and a Mystery Man. Mystery Man, aha, there it is. A giant brat. Told you, this is Elbaf. Jiha! That kid has the face of a damn demon. Newgate's is massive even for a giant. And is he crying? On this absolutely insane final double page, we discover that the Mystery Man is none other than Rock's D. Zeke's face closely resembles Teach's. Same eyes, nose, and mouth, but Xebec still has all his teeth. He has spiked hair with black and white streaks, wears earrings, and has a scar, or maybe a tattoo, on the left side of his face. He's a big guy like Teach, but slimmer. Harold encountered this man at the Levelly 8 years ago. During that event, Xebec escaped after killing a Marine admiral. He's now being hunted by the world government, which has placed a massive bounty on his head. Xebec shouts, all right, answer both my questions, kid, because that is what I'm looking for. First, is this place the nation of giants called Elbaf? Second, isn't it better that Harold be here? Rock's D. Xebec later became captain of the Rock's pirates, father of Blackbeard, one of the 4 emperors. Editor's note, the legend appears. Next issue, One Piece will be on the Jump cover and get a color spread. End of chapter, no break next week. That's it, folks. This was the fully narrated breakdown of chapter 1154. As always, I remind you this is a very early translation from low-quality scans. So be sure to check out the official version on Manga Plus this Sunday for the full, polished experience. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell. See you next time, and thanks for watching.